So imagine this. You're walking alone, maybe cutting through a side street late at night. A figure comes towards you, face hidden behind a surgical mask, which, isn't that strange anymore.
Right. It's an everyday sight.
But then they stop right in front of you, and in the streetlight you see something glinting. Maybe scissors, maybe a knife. And then they ask you this one quiet question that just locks you in.
And here's the really cruel part of that whole setup. The moment you decide to answer, no matter what you say, you've already lost. It's not just a threat, it's a ritual, a psychological trap.
Okay, let's unpack this because it is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are doing a deep dive into the Japanese urban legend of the Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Our sources give us the full folklore, a really weird and fascinating speculative anatomy, and, maybe most importantly for you, a complete guide on how to survive an encounter. If that is, you can break her logic.
And what's so compelling here is that the Kuchisake-Onna isn't just some old campfire story. She has these deep roots in historical Japanese spirits, the onravel, but she's also a modern monster.
What do you mean by modern?
Well, her modern version, the one with the mask, it caused a real documented social panic in Japan back in the late 1970s. So she's this unique bridge between ancient folklore and, well, modern psychological horror.
Okay, so we have to start with the core of the legend, the trap itself. What does the encounter actually look like, and why is that first question so lethal?
The setup is almost always the same. She finds someone alone, usually at dusk or at night. She looks normal enough at first, covering her mouth with that mask or sometimes a fan or a handkerchief. And she's always holding a weapon, usually large scissors.
And she starts it all with that one question, watashi kirei, which means, am I beautiful?
Yes, and that's where the trap springs. If you say no, well, it's over. She's enraged, and the stories say she kills you right there on the spot.
So you say yes. I mean, that's the polite thing to do, right? You think you've passed the test.
You think you have, but all you've done is buy yourself a few more seconds of terror, because then she pulls down the mask.
And reveals this horrible injury, a huge bloody gash from ear to ear.
Exactly. And that moment, that reveal, is the real weapon. It's pure psychological warfare. Because then she looks at you with this grotesque smile and asks again, "Koedemo?"
Even with this? Or how about now?
Right. And now you're completely trapped.
But hold on, this is a part that I find so interesting. If she's just a vengeful spirit and on rice, why ask a second time? Why not just kill the person who obviously just lied to her?
That is the perfect question. It suggests her goal isn't just death, it's about recreating her own trauma.
Ah, okay.
So if your second answer is no, or if you just scream, which, I mean, who wouldn't? She kills you. But if you manage to hold it together and whisper yes again, she spares your life.
But Spares is doing a lot of work there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources say she doesn't kill you, but she takes those scissors and she carves your mouth to look just like hers.
Correct. She curses you to share her disfigurement. Her vengeance isn't ending a life, it's forcing you to carry her shame. And that's why she's endured for so long. The trap is it's so brutal because it uses your own politeness against you.
That makes her a really compelling cultural figure.
Right.
So where does she actually come from? Is she an ancient spirit, or is this whole thing a modern invention?
She's both, really, a hybrid. The legend has roots that might go all the way back to the Edo period, so we're talking 17th to 19th centuries.
And the origin story from back then?
The most common one is about a beautiful but unfaithful wife of a samurai. As punishment for her vanity or her affair, her husband slashed her mouth from ear to ear.
And he asked her, who will think you're beautiful now?
Exactly. So her rage, her shame, it was so intense that she returned as a vengeful spirit, an onryo.
And that's an important distinction, isn't it? An onrai versus a yukai.
It is. Yukai is sort of a general term for supernatural creatures, but an onrai is very specific. It's a ghost seeking revenge for a terrible wrong done to them in life. Her entire focus on beauty and appearance comes directly from her origin.
So the roots are old, but the version we know today, the one that caused the panic, that's from the 1970s.
Absolutely. The modern legend is traceable. It really kicked off in Gifu Prefecture in 1978 and then exploded into this genuine social panic in the summer of 79. It wasn't just rumors on a playground. Newspapers like the Gifu Nichi Shimbun were reporting on it.
Wait, so this wasn't just a spooky story. This actually changed how people lived their daily lives.
It absolutely did. The fear was so intense that police and schools started treating her as a real-world threat. Think about that for a second. A ghost story prompted actual security protocols.
Wow. What What did they do?
Well, schools started organizing mandatory group walks for kids to get home. Teachers and PTA volunteers would actually escort students. Police even stepped up patrols in certain areas.
That's incredible.
It just shows how powerful a story can be, and the mask, ironically, helped her hide in plain sight. In Japan, wearing a surgical mask for allergies or a cold is completely normal, so the fear was that, well, anyone could be her.
She wasn't some monster in a forest. She was a stranger on your street. So she's this post-human yukai in Andrai, and she can manifest physically enough to make a whole city change its routine. So how does that rage actually work in the physical world? The sources call her semi-corporeal.
Right, which leads us into this fascinating speculative biology our sources explore. Semi-corporeal just means she doesn't play by the normal rules of biology.
Okay, let's look at the physiology. It's totally outside human limits.
Completely. For example, she doesn't seem to need to breathe. She can speak perfectly clearly while chasing someone at top speed without ever getting winded.
And her speed is terrifying. It's not just that she's fast. She has these sudden bursts of impossible speed. She can just appear in front of you, which suggests some kind of short-range teleportation.
And trying to fight her is useless. Physical attacks don't seem to affect her. Wounds either heal instantly or she just ignores them, which fits that vengeful spirit profile.
So if she doesn't need to breathe or sleep, what does she eat? The victims are terrorized or mutilated, but she doesn't seem to, consume them.
And this is where the horror gets really psychological. It brings us to her metaphysical diet.
I love that term.
Her sustenance isn't caloric. The sources suggest she feeds on a very specific thing, acute human fear.
But not just any fear.
No, not the fear of a bear or a car crash. It's the fear tied to social judgment, to appearance, and that immense pressure to be polite, even when you are facing a mortal threat.
So she's a psychological parasite.
That's a perfect way to put it. Her question isn't really a question, it's a compulsive ritual. And every response, yes or no, just reinforces the loop that created her and sustains her. She doesn't eat your body, she eats the moment you realize there's no right answer.
That connection to society's obsession with appearance is just, it's so key. She's not just a monster. She's a walking, talking social paradox.
Precise.
Okay, well, our learner needs to know how to get out of this mess. If running doesn't work and fighting is pointless, how do you survive? The lore has these strange, loophole-based solutions.
Yes, and the key to all of them is remembering that her power is tied to a ritual, a script. So the only way to survive is to go off script. You have to disrupt the dialogue she expects.
Right. Tactic number one, and maybe the smartest one, ambiguity.
Exactly. Don't give her the yes or no she needs. You give her an answer that confuses her logic. Something like, you look average or so-so. The Japanese equivalent is ma. It jams her programming. It doesn't compute, and that buys you time to get away.
Okay, so confusion works. What about just chaos? Tactic 2, distraction.
This is where it gets a little bit absurd, but apparently effective. Throwing things at her can break her focus. Money, for instance. Or, famously, hard candy.
Wait, candy. This ancient spirit of vengeance, this unstoppable force, can be stopped by a piece of candy.
I know, it sounds ridiculous, but specifically, Bekko-ame, a kind of caramelized hard candy. The thinking is that it's a simple, almost childlike offering that it overloads her ritualized, single-minded focus. It's a system error she can't process.
That's brilliant. The absurdity is part of the genius of the folklore. Okay, tactic 3 is even weirder. A specific word.
Yes. Saying the word pomade 3 times is said to make her flee in disgust.
Pomade, like hair gel.
Like old-fashioned hair gel. Some versions of the legend say she absolutely hates the smell. It repulses her.
A deadly revenant defeated by a strong-smelling hair product. I love it.
It does add a bit of levity, doesn't it? And then there's the last one, tactic 4, which sort of brings it all full circle. The polite delay.
How does that one work?
You lean into the social rules that she herself is weaponizing. You tell her you're late for an appointment and you really must be going. Some stories say this can actually make her snap back into a default politeness mode. She might even bow, apologize for bothering you, and let you pass.
It is incredible that all the escapes are based on social maneuvering. You punch her, you die. You confuse her with candy or outpolite her, you live.
It shows that her real hunting ground isn't the street, it's our social interactions, our minds.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you see her influence everywhere in modern media. She's not just a story, she's a horror mechanic. The dialogue trap where a wrong answer means death. You see it in films like Carved, in anime like Jujutsu Kaisen, video games like Ghostwire. Tokyo, she's instantly recognizable.
And to bring it all home, Kuchisake-Onna endures because she doesn't need a haunted house or a creepy forest. She exists in conversation. She's horror born from social pressure.
That mask is the perfect symbol, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the lie of normalcy, the illusion that politeness will keep you safe. Her whole existence is a commentary on society's obsession with appearance.
She's a chilling metaphor for what happens when trauma and social judgment are left to fester.
Which really makes you think. We've seen that she's sustained by this very specific social fear, this no-win social exchange. If her power comes from our compulsion to be polite, what kind of anxieties are fueling the urban legends being created right now, in our own time? What modern pressure point is creating the next monster, just waiting for you on a dark street?